This is Emma and Maddie, and you're listening to the In Charge podcast.
We are two best friends that have created an aesthetically pleasing scheduling and personal growth app, and we're here to help you become in charge of your life.
You slayed that. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome back to the In Charge podcast.
It's episode 3, and this time we have no new props with us.
No new props.
Actually, we have minus props.
We have minus props. I forgot the waters, guys. I feel like I failed. It was like this new thing that we're going to do, get the waters. We have 250 waters to burn through. I'm like, easy. Like, that's a whole year of like anyway, whatever.
And also what's consistent is I'm in the same outfit again. So if you're wondering, does this girl ever change outfits? No.
No. But it's not filmed on the same day.
No, it is not filmed on the same day. I just happen to be at the end of my fake tan journey, you guys. So you're seeing me all covered up
and
for now.
I was like, maybe we should do Fridays when you're all hot and fresh and you'll wear short sleeves. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Anyways.
Bless. Anyway, so first of all, we're going to get into business updates. This is a really exciting one. This is one we've been waiting for. So 48 hours, did we say?
To you guys. But it's actually going live tomorrow morning. But you guys
already have it.
No. So you guys don't know it's going live tomorrow morning. And hopefully, because when we launched the app, we did the same thing and you guys found it. You all found it.
Wait.
And
I thought tomorrow was Saturday.
No, tomorrow's Friday. So first thing tomorrow morning, you guys, you don't know, but it's going live. So if you find it, props to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there might be a lot of bugs still. So please
might
don't
not
take
work.
it.
No, but when you guys watch this, it will already be live a week.
Yes.
And a bit.
Yes.
So you already have found it.
It's Thursday. It goes live tomorrow, which is Friday.
Yep.
You guys will think that it's gone live on Saturday, and this podcast is going out on the Monday. So you guys already should have it.
Yes. Woo! So that's what we're pretty much, business update is. We've been stressed up to our eyeballs and our ears in getting this ready.
Yes.
We are wearing every single business hat at the moment.
Yeah.
Like emails, marketing, social media, like you name it, we're in it. We're tech team. We're testing. My hands are dirty.
Yeah. It's giving work. And this is the thing. So I was saying on my vlog actually this morning, I was like, you guys, you'll never believe it. I stayed up until 11 p.m. last night. And I realized when I said it, I was like, oh, that's probably normal to a lot of people. But I normally go to, like, I'm asleep by 8:30.
Yeah, same.
So for me, that's like, if you normally go to bed at like 11, you're up until 2 a.m. So for me, that's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was still up at 5. And I sat at my desk again, and I continued the same thing again.
I got up in the morning, my alarm went off, and I was like, you know what, another day. I need to get all the stuff done. And I rolled out of bed at 6. I did 6 o'clock, but I was in bed by 11 too. I was asleep. But I thought, yes, I'm usually in bed by 8. So this was rogue of us.
Yes.
To be hustling until that late night. But we did it.
We did it. And a little bit of an insight to you guys. Turns out 168,000 of you what the hell, have downloaded In Charge at some point. We have 168,000 accounts of people who have downloaded the app and created an account. And to me, that I never thought that number was going to be the number, to be honest. Like I'm so proud of us, Maddie.
No, I know. It's insane. To think that this is a goal that we had for to have that many emails, we were like 10 years, you know, like it just seemed like so far away. So the fact that we have that many people that have actually downloaded and seen it, like that many eyeballs is wild.
Yes.
Wild.
So we're turned into the email marketers overnight.
Yeah.
And that's actually currently what's taking up a lot of the stress, I would say.
Professionals.
Yeah,
we became.
So if you receive an email, please DM us and tell us that you love it. It's the best email that you've ever received.
Never seen
Maddie
before.
and I stayed up till 11 p.m.
I'm screaming. Anyway, app website is going live. Literally very soon. There are still some things that need to be fixed. We can't see it on our end until it goes live, and then we'll be able to see the bugs. But so far, looking so good.
Yes. And just to be clear, it's live for you guys listening now.
Yes. So you can go.
Yes.
If you're listening now, go have a look at it. See what we're talking about.
I know.
It is an extension of the app. It is now going to be pretty much the main platform where you're going to enter all the things, all the wellness things, all of the scheduling things, your to-dos, your self-growth, your journaling, everything is going to be on this platform.
Yeah.
And then the app is pretty much your portable version. So everything that you enter on the website is going to go onto the app and you can carry it around with you, know what you're doing, get your push notifications. So how exciting. It's going to change my life. It's going to change our lives.
No, seriously, it is. It's something that Maddie and I, it's just, if you could see inside our brains, that's what it looks like.
Exactly.
It's very, very cute. It's very cute.
Anyway, into the episode of what we're talking about this week.
Yeah, speaking of big goals.
No, so we really want to go over the opinions of people and how they're holding you back. And it's something that I think is why Emma and I have been able to go head first into all of our goals and achieve such amazing things, is because we lack that. We don't care about what people think, but we did struggle with this for a little bit there, especially at the beginning. And if you're, around people that also care about what people think, it can really rub off on you, because then you start going, okay, well, if they're caring so much about what people think, maybe I should care. Or maybe you're around somebody that's super judgmental. Yeah. And then you start going, okay, well, if they're judging Sally, they're going to be judging me.
I love how our person is always Sally.
Always Sally.
You're going to see that every single time we talk about the opinions of people or like caring what people think, it'll always be Sally.
No, I know. I don't know why.
Don't know why.
Sarah, there's so many different names with Sally.
Could be anybody, but it's Sally.
Anyway, so I think, I don't know where we want to start with this.
I think we start with the fact that it's time to get over it, to be honest, because it's 2025, you guys.
Yeah.
And if you are still not where you want to be because of Sally's potential opinions, it's time to have that realization, and it's time to move forward, because at the end of the day, pretty much, there's a couple of things that separate the 1% and the successful people in life. Obviously, a huge one is hard work. But another one is they feel the fear and they do it anyway.
Yes.
They get the no's, they get the judgment, they get scared of what people may think, of what, that girl or that guy from school may say or may post online. And by the way, these are all hypotheticals. So a lot of the time you're being anxious about something that may not actually even happen. But the difference between those who have gone anyway and have built incredible success versus those who haven't are the people that fear that may happen and go anyway. And to be honest, I would say, no. Do I care about what people say? No, but I'd also be lying if I said that, it would just never, ever, ever affect me, right?
100%.
I think it would be silly to be you get to this point where somebody just says something so horrible to you, and sometimes it doesn't hurt because, everybody has their own insecurities, certain things that maybe a bit touchy towards them, and you receive maybe that one message and it's ooh, you know what I mean?
That hurt today.
But you have to be that person that goes block and move on instead of that person who sits in it and you allow that one stranger, that one person to paralyze you.
Absolutely. And then that's what's going to hold you back. And that might be why you're listening to this, because it is currently holding you back.
Yes.
And you're like, right, I know if I want to move forward in whatever part of your life, whatever part.
Yeah.
You are not doing that, and you are not taking those steps because you are in fear.
Yeah.
And it's what's not progressing you forward, whether that's in your business, doing something different. Maybe it's going to a different country and traveling. Maybe it's getting a different job. Maybe it's posting on social media. Maybe it's going to the gym. Maybe it's eating healthy. Whatever this may be, it is all what is paralyzing you right now might be these opinions. But again, Emma is spot on for this of being it is genuinely hypotheticals, genuinely. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. It's not actually what they're saying.
Yes.
Is what is paralyzing you, because you don't know, because you haven't done it yet.
Yes. And also, can we all start having a little bit of respect for ourselves? Because
facts.
I am shocked that people even allow people to speak to us like this. This is the thing, right? Is I'm if I think about myself, and you guys are probably watching this, and I want you to have a little think about to yourself.
Yeah.
And if your friend said to you, let's call her Ellen. Your friend Ellen said, I want to start working at Topshop, for example. I want to start working at Topshop. In what world would you turn around to her and say, actually, that doesn't really benefit my life, and I don't think that you should? It doesn't affect me, but I've decided.
I've decided that you shouldn't. Yeah.
That you shouldn't, for whatever reason.
And you know what? A lot of the time, which is what we speak about a lot on this podcast, is projection.
Yes.
A lot of the time, that might be that person's dream job that Ellen's about to get, right?
Yeah.
They might dream about working at Topshop.
Yeah.
So then the fact that Ellen has gone out of her way to make the next moves to work at Topshop, and this other person, who are we calling them?
Sally.
Sally.
Goddamn Sally.
Yeah, it's Sally, right? Sorry. I slipped up there for a second. Sally, that's Sally's dream job, okay?
Yes.
And she's like, well, I don't have the guts, essentially. Yeah. I'm so fearful of taking that next step to quit my job and start working at Topshop. So I'm going to drag you down so that we can both sit in the misery together.
Yeah, because that's easier.
That's way easier than celebrating that person's success and Ellen's success. Ellen starts she lets her go, yes, that's amazing. You work at Topshop. And that's her dream. And she's like, okay, I'm just going to, support my friend, whatever. What's harder is seeing that friend absolutely thrive and loving the job when you're so scared to go do that. And we see this so much when it comes to social media, is everybody has something to say.
Yes.
But it's only because 9 times out of 10, they wish that they could do that. And they wish they had the courage to go out and do that. And what's different Ellen and Sally is just Ellen has more courage.
Yes.
And that's what you have to realize. Am I going to be courageous this year and I'm going to do these things that make me happy, or please people that actually have no impact in any way, shape or form? Like, to Sally, you're right. That person, like Ellen getting that job, does not affect Sally in any way, shape or form.
No.
Whether she works for a rubbish company, or whether she works for Topshop, or whether she's the CEO of something, it does not impact her life one bit.
Yeah.
It all comes from a self-reflection. And you know what? People's decisions and the people around you will be a mirror.
Yeah.
So it's what you're insecure about, or what you fear, or how you view yourself is how you react. So that's when, if you're on the other side of that, we've actually never spoken about this. If you're somebody that's on here and you're like, okay, I feel some kind of weird ways when somebody is, doing something amazing, or, I have opinions, but I think that's not really how I feel. Like, that's a projection. Why am I getting so worked up that Ellen's getting this job at Topshop? That's when you need to kind of step back and be like, okay, well, it's probably because that's my dream. I want to do that. And she's doing it first, or she has more courage. Okay, well, what can I do to better myself to make me as fearless as Ellen,
And there's room for you absolutely to both work there.
Exactly. There's not a limited amount of spots. I mean, if it's a university or whatever, and there is limited amount of spots, that is a bit different. But then again, there
Put your big girl boots on and be happy for them.
Exactly.
Or boy boots.
Exactly. And I think it's important to realize that there is space for everybody, and especially I see it so much on social media, and people are like, but everybody's a fitness influencer and you can be another one.
Yeah. There's room for Maddie and I talk about this so much. There is room for everybody.
Oh my goodness. People think it's like, once one person done it, that's it. There's no, I can't do it now because my best friend did it. No. You can do it together. What's stopping you from being like, hey, look, actually, this is also something I've wanted to do for a while. Your courage has inspired me.
Yeah.
I really now want to do this.
Yeah.
And I need a little bit of your belief. I need that to step forward. And that's kind of where we were at. When Emma turned to me and she was like, right, I'm going to start working for myself. That was my dream. I wasn't going to go around and be like, you shouldn't do that. That's a really dumb idea. Because that would be my insecurities that I didn't have the courage. But I was like, you know what? Emma's so fearful right now. Fearless right now. And Emma has so much belief that this is going to work, and I need a bit of that.
Yeah.
I need that energy. So I was like, you know what, right, if you're going to do it, Emma, I'm doing it too. I'm coming along for the ride. And then we're here now. So this could be you and your friend. This could be Ellen and Sally.
It could be. And honestly, there's so much I could pick apart from what Maddie just said. All of that was genius. And one of those things is, a big takeaway is like who the other people is that you're hanging around with, right? Because if Ellen got her dream job and all of your friends are also feeling insecure and you're all going, well, let's attack her and make her feel terrible, then that's not going to help the situation, right? So you want to be surrounded by really good people. And I think like an example of this is like Maddie is huge on socials, and she one thing I will say about Maddie is you come up with so many incredible, unique ideas. Unfortunately, in the world of social media, when someone comes up with a unique idea, everybody else decides that they want to do it too, right? And that can be sometimes that can be like a little bit like, oof, like, you know, when you're like, you feel like you've come up with something so good and then you see somebody, like so many other people doing it and you're like, oh, like a little bit like that. And we've had this conversation like a few times where, you know, Maddie's come up with something so amazing and, you know, I can see that it's just stung her a little bit.
Yeah.
And we've had that conversation where I could sit there and say to Maddie, yeah, you know, like screw them. Like, you know, that does suck for you. And like have you wallow in that like little bit of like that. Like Maddie's not hurt by it. It just stings a little bit.
Yeah, you're like, I put so much time and effort. It's kind of how I see when people rip off, like if you've designed something
or something.
Yeah, and they've ripped it off, then I'm like, oh yeah, you put all that effort in. Someone's just gone and taken it so easily.
Yeah. And what I will always say to Maddie is, nobody will do it like you, but there is room for everybody. And that's so important to remember, is that there is room for everybody, but also not everybody is you. So someone like Maddie and I, actually, we're good examples. Maddie and I might do the exact same thing. Maddie and I are so different.
Yes.
So what's going to happen is, you know, people may relate to me in a different way that we'd relate to Maddie and vice versa. And it's always remembering that we could come out with the exact same video, but it's going to be like, for example, like you probably listen to Maddie and you listen to me and you're like, oh, I relate to Maddie more than this. I relate to Emma more than this. But we're sitting down and doing the exact same
We're
thing.
talking about the same thing.
Exactly. So there is room for everybody. So that's like one thing that I said, like that I love that you said. And I think that, who you surround yourself with and how people react to certain situations is super, super important as well. But also I just love the fact that it's like, yeah, if somebody is upset or annoyed, actually a really good example of this is like social media. When people post on social media, you get so scared that somebody is going to call you cringe, and you get so scared that people are going to comment things being like, this was lame, this was cringe, like you suck, like da-da-da-da-da. But the only people, literally like what Maddie said, the only people who are commenting that are the people who wish that they were big on socials, posting on socials, working for themselves from their phones, and they're not doing that, and they're in a place in their life where they're unhappy, but they're not willing to take the leap to change anything about that. So what is so much easier for them than being like, you know what, I'm going to pick up my phone and, you know, start recording or start, you know, going towards that life that I want and getting out of my comfort zone, is to get online and stop as many people as they can from doing that, because they're like, if I can just keep everyone or as many people as possible,
it's going to make me feel better.
Yeah, down with me, then I'm going to feel so much better. But actually the reality is, if those people just plucked up the courage and really put themselves, you know, first, and put their goals and their dreams first, and to be honest, they need to not care what other people think.
It's a mirror.
It's a mirror. It's a full circle that just keeps going around.
No, I know. Everyone, and you know what? It's kind of that. This is exactly what happened to me in my journey, in the sense of like, I was scared of what people thought when I started, and it was almost like I had to just suck it up because I had no income, no options. I had spent years on a degree I didn't want to do. I had literally zero options left.
Yeah.
So I was either going to sit in my room and do absolutely nothing to just care about what the girls in high school thought of me, or I was just going to suck it up and do it. And if they said something too bad, I need to make money. And I need to be happy as well. And you can go frolic and do whatever. But the thing is that it's kind of like when you go to a gym. You don't want to go to a gym because you're scared. Everyone's going to stare at you. You're using the machine wrong. No one's actually looking at you. And I know so many people say this. And you're probably like, yes, I've heard that before. But I feel like they are, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, because I remember I went through this time where I felt like everyone was staring at me. No one was staring at me. But when you feel that and you convince yourself that, you can't get out of it. But you almost have to be like, okay, then you have to find actionable steps next that are not going to move you forward, because then when you've gone forward enough, you're going to realize, oh wait, they actually weren't staring at me. Or I thought, actually, no one cared
that
I started working a business, and maybe they made a couple of comments about it, or, you know, maybe some people did, but I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And it never got back to me, and they were probably like, cool, she's doing this new thing, whatever. I realized no one actually cared. And then when you start working out at the gym, you realize, oh, actually no one's looking.
No, everybody cares about themselves. That's it.
Everyone's so hyper fixated on themselves. So then you do those actionable steps of being like, right, I'm going to learn about all the machines. Like Emma did this. She was like, okay, tell me the plan. So like when I go to the gym, I'm not walking around like I know nothing.
Yeah.
So I feel confident, because that's the most important is that you walk in with confidence. Because if you have, this is my favorite quote, is if you act confident, no one will question you. And it is so, so correct. Like if you start a business and you're scared about what everyone thinks, they're gonna get that energy, and they're gonna start being like, oh, she's scared of what everyone thinks. Should we care?
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas if you jump into it and you're like, right, I'm confident. This is gonna work. This is gonna be amazing. This is the next big thing, right? Some people were like, oh, she's crazy for that, because that's a projection.
Yes.
But a lot of people are gonna be like, oh yeah, this is great. This is a big thing. This is cool. Like they just need to know your energy. And I realize I do this with you when we're in situations that I've never experienced before. I don't know if you know this, but when something happens and I don't know how to react, because Emma's my safe person, like we've known each other for so long, that you are a very reactive person. You like, almost like you are certain in your reaction and that's who you are. Whereas I'm not really like that. I'm like, what are we doing? So every time something happens and Emma goes, that's not right, I go, yep, that's not right. That's not
so true.
So true. That's not right. That's not on. But I think I need that validation. But a lot of people need that of like, right, how do we react? Like they don't really know if no one's done it in their life before. Like Emma may have experienced that before, and then she's like, no, I've had enough. That's not good. Whereas I'm like, I'm the first time experiencing this. So maybe if you're the first person that's going out of your way to post online and you're confident, they're going to be like, wow, this is so cool. You're so confident online. Like you're adamant. You're providing value and you're helping people and you're posting to do X, Y, and Z or whatever. And you're loving it. And that's what's most important. They're going to get that energy and be like, yes. So I think it's how you send it as well can be a really big way of like avoiding or, you know, getting that reaction. Because if you're so fearful, then people are just going to like absorb that fear.
Yeah, you're going to become an easy target. And the thing is at the beginning, like, and then people do say, you know, fake it till you make it. But understanding that people really truly only care about themselves is so important, because even if somebody leaves a nasty comment on your TikTok or your Instagram or whatever it may be, they are then scrolling and doing they've moved on to somebody else right away.
They've forgotten about it.
Yeah, and you're holding on to that. And all they are then doing for the rest of the day is either bringing other people down or thinking about themselves and how miserable they are in their life or how they wish that they were doing something or whatever it may be. And you know, they don't actually care that much about you, like in the nicest way possible. Like they actually don't care. And to be honest, if they do, like you don't even have a hater anymore. You have a fan. And also let's tell them to just like grow up. You know what I mean?
No,
like if you are that invested in my life, like why are you that invested in my life? Like you need to get invested in your own life. And a way that I like to think about it as well is like kind of going back to, you know, what I said is like with how you let people speak to you. I want you to like think about that, because I don't even know why you're giving. Obviously online is a little bit different, but the amount of people that come to me and say, well, I'm not going to start this business, or I'm not going to keep doing this business, or I'm not going to keep going for this goal, or I'm not going to whatever it may be, because my friend from school said, or a girl from work said, or, you know, my boyfriend's sister said, or whatever it may be. I'm like, why are you even, you know, letting them talk to you like that?
No,
like
seriously.
It's absolutely crazy. And you're saying that like one person is going to change the whole trajectory of your life. Like this comes back to what like Maddie said with your safe person and stuff. You need to surround yourself with people that just like wouldn't talk to you like that. Because for me, if Maddie was like, I'm going to do this, and I was a little bit like, I have no idea. I have no education around what it is that she's doing. I actually don't understand what it is that she's doing. Actually, a good example is my partner. He runs a digital marketing agency. When he started, I could not tell you for the life of me what a digital marketing person did. Like no idea. So I had two options. I could have said, you know, I don't know anything about that. That sounds like a silly idea. I've never heard anybody become successful because I've never heard about it. So obviously it doesn't work. So you shouldn't do that. But instead I went, I want to learn about what it is that you're doing. Educate me on what it is that you're doing. You know, show me what it is that you're going to do. You know, I'm
Educate
super,
me.
Exactly. I'm super invested and I trust your judgment. This is something that you want to do that's going to make you happy. If it works, great. If it doesn't, great. I'm going to be here either way.
Yes.
But I want to understand what it is that you're doing so I can fully support you. You know why I do that? Because I love you and I trust your judgment. And that is what a nice person does,
yes.
right? And I could have, turned around and said that was such a silly idea. You know, you should just stay in your 9 to 5 because, you know, that's safe. And I've never heard anybody be successful in what you do.
No, and you know what? That would be, if you did that, that would have been a projection on your insecurities of that you have, and maybe you're fearful that you working for yourself, there's no security. So you would, and you're scared about that. So then you project that fear onto him and his life choices, which actually has nothing to do with you.
No, it doesn't. And
seriously.
You have to be careful how you're letting people speak to you, because I would never, ever, ever say that to somebody. And it comes back to the same thing of like, why would you let somebody tell you that you're parenting wrong? Like you get to parent how you feel like that works for you and your kids and your family. Like
that's your child.
Exactly. Like this, it's your child, it's your life, it's your family, it's your business. Like you do not the fact that you're even allowing people to make those decisions for you is like, to me, is just absolutely crazy. And I want you to think about that. And I want you to think about how you go away and speak to other people. And if you would never say that to them, then never let them say that to you.
Exactly.
But also if you think right now that you do, it's time to stop.
No, seriously. So you know what? This is actually reminding me. So I met up with my friend and she's also working for network marketing. And we sit down and we're having matcha and we were talking about how her business was going and all this sort of stuff. And I go onto her Instagram and I go, "Where's your bio gone?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, about that." And I go, "Do you not want to, like, are you not running your business anymore?" And she goes, No, I am. Like I posted, I posted the most recent post. And I said, "But where's your bio? Like you made this whole, like we came up with it together." And she goes, "Oh, like I don't want to admit, but like," she goes, "I had a like." She's like, you're right. I need to get it back. I need to put it back." And I was like, "No, what happened? And she goes, "Well, I went out on the weekend and one of my friends was like, what did you do your bio? Why is there like links and like things in there?" Like, and she goes, she's like, I regret that I felt a victim to caring about, like she looked disgusted. Like, she's like, "That's weird. That's not you. That's not what you," I'm like, "Who is this girl? Like, does she know you? Like, what's," she's like,
"Who is she to tell you that's not you?"
Exactly. Like no one can go onto your social media and be like, "That you're fake on there. That's not who you are."
Yeah.
Well, you're going to post what's authentic.
I'm doing it, so obviously it's me. Exactly. What do you mean? Like, wasn't a magical fairy that came around?
No,
and did
seriously. And she was like, "Oh," and then she deleted it in that moment, her whole bio.
Bless.
No, and I was like, "Oh my
and
goodness.
It's a bio.
It's a bio." And then she's like, "I felt embarrassed." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right. It does look silly. It's not me." And then I was like, "But girl, you just fell victim to that when like you could have stood up for yourself." She was like, "No, I was right. I don't know why I did that." And then I was like, "You know what you reply, babe? You reply, I'm running a business. That's what that is.
Yeah.
I'm making money. I'm
working towards my goals.
I'm getting paid. That's what this is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, rather than being like, "What's that?" disgusted, being like, "What are you doing?"
And so did she put it back up when she was with you?
Literally.
See? And that is the difference.
And then I said, "You know what? You're going to be around soon. People like me and you and more people that are building their business, that are really successful, that are going to look at your bio and be like, absolutely slay the house down, right?"
Yeah.
And I said to her, "You're not going to have to worry about this anymore." And I said, a bio for her is comparable to somebody's uniform.
Yeah.
So I said, would you go up to her if she was wearing her work uniform and be like, "That's not you.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing that?" Be
Yeah,
like, "I have to.
absolutely.
It's my work. It's my job." So I'd be like, that's exactly what you say and you reply when somebody says that about your bio. Like I was like, and she's like, "You're so right." She's like, "Well, I don't know why, like when you put it in perspective like that, now I get it." And she's like, "No, she's like, this is why I need to meet up with you. This is why I need to see you because you need to check me." And I was like, "No, I know." And I said, "Do not delete it again."
Yeah.
So Emma, I feel like you're in your organized era.
Maddie, I am in my organized era. And if you guys didn't know, Maddie and I both created a platform called In Charge. It's a website and an app that helps you stay organized and also encourages you to implement daily positive practices that's going to get you closer to your goals.
Yes, so Emma and I, before this, we had multiple journals and diaries help us become the versions of ourselves we need to be successful in our businesses and in our life. And after seeing the impact it had, we decided to create a space to blend them all together electronically. So now it doesn't matter where we are, what we're doing, we literally feel like we can stay on track.
One of our favorite parts is that it is so aesthetically pleasing. It has 5 different theme colors to choose from. My personal favorite is pink.
I love the blue. It's so cute.
But it also has a lot of other functions, not just scheduling. So it incorporates things like steps, sleep, and water tracking. It also has a goals and a vision board section, a to-do list, as well as journaling, affirmations, and gratitudes.
It's so much. And if you're like us, you're wanting to become the most successful version of yourself this year, you can sign up to InCharge now at inchargeapp.com and use the code podcast for 15% off your subscription.
That's podcast for 15% off your subscription.
I said, if somebody says something, you call me. I will pass the phone. I will tell them.
And that's the difference, right? Is she had one person say, that's cringe, or you shouldn't have that there, or whatever. And then she had somebody else saying, no, you should have that. Like, I'm so proud of you. And that's the difference. And they always say, like, a business owner will never judge you for starting a business. And I love that, because people who... Well, actually, my dad always says to me, he's like, Emma, successful people are far too busy to judge other people to begin with. He's like, a CEO is not going to even notice that you've started a business. Like, let's be real, because they're too busy. Like, the only people that have so much to say are the people that are doing absolutely nothing.
And they can hyperfixate on everybody else and what they're doing.
Yeah, like, I don't know what anybody else is doing.
Everybody that asks says, like, who... tells me about like a judgmental story or they're scared of that person's opinion. I always go, who is this person?
Yeah.
Who is it? Are they where you want to be?
Yeah.
Is that your inspiration?
Yeah.
And this is where the only tricky part is family. And that's where family, I've also realized, love comfort. Yeah. So they love the way that you are right now. Like my mom, when I dyed my hair, keep in mind, my hair is 3 shades lighter than this.
Yeah, it's really not different.
I dyed my hair. She goes, no, that's not my daughter. And there's always that experience with like the getting a tattoo and your parents freak out or something like that. Something happens and they freak out because they like comfort and the way that you were. And if they feel like you're changing and growing, they're scared that they're going to get left behind. And that's family. They just want to all grow together and all be together. And that's where it can feel super isolating, because you're like, okay, well, my family don't support me in this way. But at the end of the day, the only reason why they're saying something, or maybe they're being judgmental, or maybe they have fear, like my mom does this too, is because they don't want you to get your feelings hurt, for you to get left down or left out, or for let down. Or for them to be left out and feeling like you're going to outgrow them, and then they can't like match your income, or they can't match your lifestyle, and then all of a sudden they're over there and you're doing amazing things and they're out of your life.
Because they want you to need them.
Exactly. Yeah. Because especially parents and like even siblings and whatever, they want to feel needed and close to you. And then when they feel far away, what they have to remember is, and what you have to remind them is, it doesn't matter how different we become, our love will never fade.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what you always need to remind your family and people around you. If you feel like that's what they're doing, is they're trying to hold on to you, even if it's your friend, you need to read the room and be like, okay, look, like, is it because they're scared of me moving far away from them or not being as close, and constantly give them that reassurance and being like, I'm not going anywhere. Like our friendship will always be solid, even if I'm like I can't even imagine actual famous people.
I know.
Like that would be crazy, because it's just like you either come along for the ride and you support me, or you're like, oh my goodness, now you think you're top shit, you're hot famous now, and da-da-da-da. And I feel like there is that divide of that. So keep that in mind, but there are ways to navigate it and understand and reflect in the person that's in the place of growing as well. Or you're on the other side of it. You are the family and you've seen that happen before.
I see a lot of people as well. That's the importance of going anyway and going first, because a lot of the time, and I would say like maybe in Maddie's mom's instance, a lot of it was Maddie. It's like Maddie just went anyway.
Yes.
And Maddie's mom is like her biggest supporter. You know what I mean? But your family, a lot of the time, they want to protect you. and they don't want to see you disappointed. They don't want to see things not work out. They don't want to see you upset. And I see that so often in the business world where people are like, my parents just want me to stay in my 9 to 5, or my parents don't think that running a business is stable, or my parents think this. And it's like, okay, but also they're allowed to think that, and you're allowed to think something else. And I think that's really important to remember is like your family, just because they're your family, it doesn't mean you all have to think the same, because that's how families stay in the same situation forever. You know what I mean? Like you can be the one person that changes your whole family's downline forever. And that's a lot of what my partner talks about. He's like, I want to change the whole, like the islet name, like the whole thing. And the way that you can kind of like, you know, you can change that, and then you can grow into the person that you want your kids to then be.
So
and
powerful.
Then their kids, you know what I mean? So just because your parents thought some way doesn't mean you have to, and then your kids have to, and all of that. You can be the person that absolutely changes that. And that is normally what it is. It takes one person in a family to completely change everything. But you do, like a lot of the time, like people, I see so often that people don't support businesses or don't think things are a good idea or whatever. And then that person becomes successful, and all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, I always believed in you. And like, you know, or sometimes it can just, you know, paint the vision for them. I also, you know, sometimes even if you don't think about yourself, like the way, again, like coming back to Brock and Brock, who's my partner, he like the most incredible thing I've ever seen is me doing what I did and showing him possibilities, which he already had. But a lot of the time, like he was like to me, Emma, before I met you, he was like, I always, you know, I wanted to be those, like one of these super successful people. And I'd seen people online or whatever it may be, but I'd actually never seen somebody who had made income online and made it work before in person, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like meeting, you know, a unicorn.
Yeah.
And he was like, but then you showed me that was possible. And now he started his own business. And now he's, you know, going wildly successful. So, you know, a lot of the time you just got to remember, like, you know, they may not believe in me now, but maybe I can do it anyway, and then make them believe in themselves and show them that that's possible. So sometimes you are making like moves for the people around you. You just have to go anyway. Like the moral of this story is, you guys, no matter what, you have to go anyway.
No, I know, because you are going to inspire people around you and be like, oh, right, well, like if you turned your life around, like say somebody was super unhappy and they were in a really bad place, and then they completely turned their life around and now they're happy and healthy and love their job and all of these things. Like it's because there's almost comfort in that discomfort, right? And it's so much harder to get yourself out and literally completely flip your life around like my partner has. And she's unrecognizable. Like it's insane. And she almost was like already doing that, and then met me and was like, right, I've got to send it. I've got to keep going and turning my life around so that we can, like, because we're an actual match, you know? So I think as well is that then now she's inspired so many people who are like, I knew you then. Like you've showed me that it's completely possible to turn my life around. But doesn't mean she's a different person. Just means that she plucked up the courage to do it and took those steps. And now other people believe that, but she had to do it anyway, even though everybody around her was doing those same habits that she was in, and in jobs that they hated, and having really unhealthy like daily habits. And she was like, right, it's just that one decision to be like, okay, right, I've got to get out of this, and whoever's going to follow me is going to follow me, but I've got to do it anyway. Correct.
And it's also okay to become a different person. Like it's okay to become completely unrecognizable and, you know, switch the people that you hang around with. Like so many people say to me, oh my gosh, it's what I get all the time. You're so different from who you were 6 years ago. You're so unrecognizable. Like I never saw you being like this. Good. Like, good. I hope I changed. God damn. Like, even I look at me 6 years ago and I'm like, oh, honey. So that's also okay. Like,
True.
And this is the thing, is you do need to like step into that person. And like, when I look at me 6 years ago, I'm so grateful that she had the courage to go anyway. To go anyway. But to be honest, like, and I think that's another thing, is you're probably sitting here going, well, you know, like you guys are talking on this podcast, of course you were going to be successful. No, like guys, if you had known me 6 years ago, like there was no part of me that should have been successful. And I decided to go anyway, step into it anyway, not care anyway, and turn into the person that needed to be. I needed to turn into the person that could become successful
Yes.
and turn into future me. And I'm still growing all the time, every day. Like I hope 6 years from now, I am completely unrecognizable again.
No, seriously.
But
Like
you have to go.
if you knew Emma, like her anxieties would have held her back from making any movement forward or in any of the direction that we thought we thought we would both go.
Yeah.
And I was the exact same. We were like crippled with anxieties, but you know what was like hard and was so solid was our belief. Like we were on our socials. We had, I can't, this is exact evidence of sending it and being so confident that people are like, right, yeah, I guess. Like it was almost because we had all of these anxieties and caring what people think and crippled in so many ways and so many social ways as well. But we had so much belief. And I think that that's all that it really comes down to is like, I wouldn't think these things were possible for me if they weren't going to happen. Like I wouldn't think about this reality. Like we wouldn't dream about being on a private jet if it wasn't actually obtainable for us, you know?
Yeah.
So that belief is what Emma had that was so rock solid. Like if you met her, it was like everything was against her like her brain was almost fighting herself.
Yeah.
But she was so certain. And I think that that's what got you to where you are now is because you almost had to be like, right, I'm definitely going to make this happen. So I've got to change all of my mindset shit around. Yeah. And I did the exact same.
And a lot for me was choosing my heart, right?
Yes.
And this is something that you've got to do is if you're currently unhappy in your life and you're like, I really want to start a fitness journey, or I really want to start a business, or I really want to have a life that looks like this and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so you have two options. Like, and you got to figure out what's harder for you. Is it, being told that you're cringe or whatever for a little bit until, by the way, when you become successful, all of those things will stop.
Yeah.
So is that the hard part where it's like, okay, maybe for a year I might endure some of my friends being like, what are you doing? Or your bio is cringe, or,
lose some friends along the way.
Exactly. Is that your hard, or is your hard staying exactly where you are for the rest of your life and never getting to where you wanted to be because of what people may say? And, something my dad says to me, which I love, and he's actually starting a podcast on it, which is really exciting. So shout out to you, Dad, called The Rocking Chair Test. And this is actually something that Richard Branson speaks about. And I just love it so much because it's something really to reflect on. We have one time on this earth, you guys. And Richard Branson always says, like, if you are in your rocking chair in your 90s and you're looking back at your life, like, are you completely satisfied with everything that you did? Did you go for the job that you wanted? Did you start the business that you wanted? Did you hang around the people that you wanted? Did you live your life with a partner who truly loved you? Like, did you look back at your life and go, yep, I did everything that I wanted to do that was true to me and I was fearless? And if you're sitting there going, no, I didn't, because I was scared of so-and-so's opinions, or I thought that, I wasn't worthy enough, or whatever it may be, then you failed the rocking chair test, right? And I think it's so important to remember, you guys, like, and this comes back, so speaking about anxieties, this is something that I did. So this is actually something I did, like, when originally it started as I used to have a massive fear of, like, going on dates. It was something that I was so scared of, like, again, going back to, like, not being good with, like, talking to people and stuff and, like, having anxiety. I used to just, like, be terrified to go on dates. And to be honest, like, I'm in a very happy relationship, but even if I wasn't, I would probably still be terrified. I never actually got over that. So what I did is I just remembered that everybody is a clump of literal atoms. You know what I mean? Like, if you actually think about life, it is not that deep. Like, we are, you guys, just think about this for a second. We're in a literal hole in time and space, like in a universe on a floating rock in the middle of some galaxy, and depending on what you believe in, somehow we've popped onto this earth, right? And we are a clump of actual atoms. Like, we are a clump of, like, matter and brains and guts and bones all merged together, and we become this person. And, like, somebody that's making fun of you, it's just their, like, clump of pink mass in their head called a brain deciding to be a bitch. And I'm like, But you don't have to do that. You know what I mean?
It's literally
but
not
also,
that
like,
deep.
It's really not that deep. So before I'd go on a date, if I was like nervous to meet this guy or whatever, before I met up with Brock for the first time, I was bricking it, you guys. And I was just like, yeah, he's gorge, but he's a literal clump of atoms.
Like, it's just
it's just floating rock. Like, it's really not that deep. And
like I'm literally a speck on this rock.
Literally, I'm about to walk into this cafe that's made out of God knows what and drink a liquid coffee that's made out of God knows what. And I'm just going to have... what on earth?
Like, nothing matters.
No.
And also, there's so, like, if it doesn't work out, or if you're never going to probably see him again. Like, it's only everything is only a big deal because you make it a big deal in your own brain.
Yeah.
Like, if you actually step back and you're on the outside, like, I look at other people's lives, or like somebody's going through something, and I know that if I was in that position, I'd be like, oh my goodness, this would be a huge deal. But then from the outside, I'm like, it's really not that big.
No.
Like, it's actually tiny.
No.
Like, if I come to you and I'm like, oh, this girl copied my TikTok.
Yeah.
You're like, I know it's a really big deal and it stings.
Yeah.
But on the outside, it's really minuscule.
Yeah.
So I think if you remember that, if you like step outside of yourself right now and you're like, I know it feels huge because this person's saying this and this person's saying this, I'm a failure, all these things. Like, I just want to go back to what's comfortable. Like, keep in mind, if you're to step back, you're like, okay, well, yeah, this person made one slight comment and maybe this person, but everyone's going to have lumps in the road and rocks in the road on their journey. Like, you wouldn't be successful if it was a smooth path. So this is life tests you in ways to make you stronger. Like, you need to, every time someone's bothering me or something's happening, I'm like, my patience is being tested. Like, it's just to make me more patient, right? So every time I'm like, okay, well, if these people are saying this and I'm getting hate or whatever else, this person judging me, I'm like, this is testing my resilience and my courage and like to go for it anyway. And you have to see that as like just a test so that you can overcome it and then you can be bigger and better from it. And that's how you're going to succeed. Yeah. But I see so much just people really being paralyzed, like completely paralyzed in the position that they're in right now because of all of these external factors. And then it becomes this really, really big deal for them. And they're like, I can't. It's just so much easier to just stay where I am.
Yeah. And I think you got to remember, like, opinions you guys don't live on. And this is something that somebody told me. And it's just my favorite thing ever. Like, not to be, dramatic and morbid, but sometimes we go through life and we just forget that we're going to die. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we're so in the moment. Like, you guys, 100 years from now, every single person that's listening to this right now, you're not going to be here. Maddie and I aren't going to be here, right? So, which is just, sometimes when you think about that, you're like, holy moly. But that's the reality of it, right? Like, we are in such a small time and space, and you have like one time to be here and do whatever it is that you want to do. But 100 years from now, whatever somebody commented under your TikTok, whatever somebody said about you, whatever somebody may have thought about you, it doesn't live on. Like 100 years from now, every single thing that somebody thought or said about you is gone.
No, there's not going to be a statue of you with a plaque saying this comment was put on your TikTok in 2025.
Like, everybody remember that.
Everybody remember that opinion that we created about this person.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when you first told me that and I was like, yep.
Because it changed my life. I was like, when you realize like opinions do not live on and you have one time on this planet and 100 years from now, nothing that anybody says about you right now will matter. Nobody will remember it. Nobody
seriously
will be talking about it. Nobody will be thinking about it. But you had the chance to go off this earth and go, you know what? I did everything that I wanted to do. By the way, in your life. Can we just for a second, this is your life. Your life.
Like, yours.
It's
no one else's.
I actually have no there's actually no factual evidence to me that you're even here. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is I could have just made you up. You know what I mean?
Oh, we talk about this all the time.
My freaking life. And it's mine. And I'm going to live it how I want to live it. And if you all want to go about your dandy lives, and also, by the way, if Sally wants to live, by the way, her one time on this earth, Sally has one time on this earth. And if she wants to spend it making other people miserable, and she wants to spend it commenting under people's TikToks and Instagrams, telling them they're lame or they look ugly or whatever it may be. And she wants to spend it around friends that gossip and bitch and bring people down. Let her. Honestly, let her.
Yeah.
Because if that is exactly how she wants it, it's her life. It's her life.
She gets to be in that miserable
a miserable person over in her side of the world and her corner in her house made of atoms.
But the experience of life, it doesn't affect your experience of life.
No.
Like you can see, like even though she's miserable, you can still be happy in your little life. You just don't let that bleed into yours.
Yes.
Like because you have that control.
Yes.
You have that power. And I think when I remember that, I was like, I actually have the power to determine how this affects me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I can be like, right, I'm going to sit and cry about this for 2 hours. Or I can be like, right, you know what? Doesn't matter. Even if it bothers me, I'm going to be like, you know what? If I just keep telling myself it doesn't matter, it won't bother me. It doesn't bother me. It's fine. It doesn't. Her being like this should not affect me. And you know what? I am a sympathetic, spongy person. I do know that. Like if you hit me with something, I'm absorb it. You know.
Yeah.
So
we love an aware girly,
and I am in therapy for it because I realize that. If somebody's having a shit time and they're having a shit part of their life, I then think I need to have a shit, like I bring it into my part when actually it has nothing to do with me.
Yes.
And I back you in everything you say with this because it is so unbelievably true. Just because this person is unhappy and they're being miserable does not affect yours, but it gives you every right to move away from that.
Yeah.
And you don't want that energy around you. Like you will find your other people that are happy and that are where you want to be and do what you want to do. Like
there's 7 billion people on this planet, you guys.
Don't stay in this comfort of like the friends or the partner that you're around that's being all shitty and just infecting the area.
Yeah. And like we said, it's your life. If you want to be happy and you want to do something, do it. It's yours. It's literally yours. And if they want to be miserable and do something, let them.
Yes.
It's theirs. Like, and to be honest, I would much, much rather go off this planet being a kind person who surrounded myself with good people, who went for my goals, who started the business, who looked after my body, who did everything that made me happy in my world, in my life, in my time here, than be Sally.
No, seriously.
I would much rather that. And, you know, that's where you've got to go and be like, you know what? I think that is the preface of this podcast is you get to live your life however you want. And in 2024, if you let it stop you, I'm just going to let you know now, it's a new year. We are getting older. We're getting older. And this is the year where you stop that. And you also recognize that there is nothing wrong with Sally being that type of person if that is how she wants to spend this time. But that does not mean that she gets to dictate where your life is going just because she has a thought in her brain about something. And like Maddie said at the beginning of this, it's simply whatever it is that she is thinking, it's a projection. And you've always just got to almost just feel sympathy for her and be
bless
like,
and release.
We've been loving that this year. Bless and release is like the motto of this year.
Yeah.
But you do have to bless and release. You have to be like, you know what? I'm so sorry you feel that way. I'm so sorry that my life affects you so much.
No, seriously.
But I'm going to do it anyway.
No, seriously.
You know, I wish you the best and I wish you all the happiness and I hope that you find, you know, things in your life that make you a lot happier than bringing mine down, to be honest.
And to end this podcast, I really want to say as well, when I was feeling really lost in what I was doing, where I was going, and I was scared of all of these things with all of these anxieties, the only decision that matters is if it makes you happy. And I think that is what got me to where I am today is every time I feel out of alignment. And you know what's funny is like when I'm not acting in alignment and I'm acting on other people's energies, I start breaking glasses. And recently I broke 3. And I'm like, right, Maddie, take a step back.
That's enough.
Right, I'm not doing things that make me happy. I'm maybe doing them for other people. And I line all my shit out and I go, okay, if I make this, what decision, the only decision that matters is that movement forward going to make me happy? And if the answer is yes, then correct. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter who I'm going to let down or what I'm going to do. Like if I'm going to go to bed early, it's going to make me happy. I don't care if Emma really wanted to get drunk that night.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, you know, and that's my responsibility to then go and find another friend to get drunk with that wants to get drunk and not force Maddie. And I also like to end this as well. yes, we've spoken so much about other people's opinions about you and how they may react towards you. And there's going to be a lot of you on here. There may not be, but there could be a lot of you on here that are like, yes, yeah, screw her. Like, yeah. But also looking inward, right?
Yeah.
And going, actually, how do I talk to other people? And do I hype people up? And do I project my insecurities onto them? And do I do these things and maybe not notice it? And am I like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to Sally from school. But how are you then talking to Sally? How are you talking to other people? Because it's all fun and games to be like, it's like what we were saying at the beginning. I could say, yeah, let's hype people up and tell them that they can do anything. And then when Maddie's going, well, this girl copied my video, and I'm going, well, screw her. Like, she shouldn't be doing. Well, that actually doesn't match up. No, you know what I mean? Yep. So I have to be in the space where I'm like, okay, no, I get to support my friend and be like, you know what? Nobody does it like you. Like, you are the best. You are the best. And there's room for everybody, but I'm also going to be in the circle that allows her to still do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, how is it that because you don't get to be all the people. You don't get to be like, you don't get to talk to me like that. And you know, screw you, Sally. But also you're going to your friend going, oh, did you see what that girl did?
Yes.
You know what I mean? You don't get to be both people.
No, I love that.
Or you shouldn't be both people. So yes, sit here and go, you know what? I'm going to go for it anyway. And I'm going to be that person. But also go away from this being like, okay, how am I going out into the world? And how am I going to speak to other people? And how am I going to
support others and put that energy back, right? Because whatever you put out is what you're going to get back, right?
Exactly.
So that's just an amazing way to end. Oh my goodness, I have loved this episode.
It's been so good. Maddie and I, first of all, were like thinking what we're going to say, and we were like, no, let's just go. And it's been 57 minutes.
Oh, look at that.
The girls had a lot to say.
And we had the podcast room for an hour, so that's just right on the money, isn't it? This is a really long one, but I hope you guys really enjoyed it. We had a lot to say. We can rant about this
very passionate.
Forever.
Yeah.
We also have another podcast on caring about what people think. If you loved this one, you can go back and watch that one too.
Yes.
It's a little bit more simplified. It's not as passionate as this one. But we hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and we'll see you next week.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.